Okay, next we're going to hear from the Ramsar Secretariat. Ramsar Convention is, for historical, geographical reasons, probably the convention closest, physically closest to IUCN because in their headquarters, located in their headquarters, but also there's a long process of working together, so very interested. And of course they deal with weapons, which as various people have stressed, this Congress is rather underrepresented here and generally unrepresented in discussions about protected areas. So Chris, please give us your thoughts. I think you've also got slides.
Thanks very much. I'm trying to get a roaming mic because otherwise I'll never be able to see the slides. Can you give me light on this? Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we had everything written down for helping, and I think everybody knows here what the Convention on Wetlands is all about. Certainly we have a large estate, and so we are incredibly interested in KBAs because we've already got 208 million hectares under Ramsar sites around the world. So that's a significant network of areas of importance. The understanding of ourselves as well that with the massive loss, 64% over the last 100 years, we need to do a little bit better. So from our point of view, the gap analysis aspect of KBAs is important. We think that this can be helpful to countries if it is not intrusive. It's important to have a confirmation of the quality of existing Ramsar sites, particularly where we have a mismatch between what are IUCN categorized sites and what are not. And obviously identification research needs to look at particular issues about KBAs. These are all important for us because we are not limited to birds or dragonflies or tardigrades on our wetland sites in terms of what we're interested in. What we would like is clearly geo-reference boundaries and geographical extent. Our new Ramsar site information system is now launched, and that will require and request our parties to put in data in shapefiles in GIS for all the Ramsar sites. So that is where we're going in terms of making sure that we have geo-reference data. Downloadable, please, open data, and obviously the closest that you can get to the Ramsar information sheets and for us to make adjustments to that would be absolutely fine. And we see also that there will be a need looking at KBAs for subclasses, for some subcategorization. We accept and understand that, but we don't redefine what that will mean. Match with existing procedures. We are encouraging, as ever, parties to identify candidate sites. But this is not a straightforward procedure, and we would like to get as large a backswell and groundswell of information coming in from citizen science, from different groups, in order to help, and the KBA could well fit within that. We hope that as our Ramsar site information system becomes more useful and more acceptable and has both the technical science data and then later on has blog data and citizen science data attached to these sites, this will also assist in getting a grainer or a higher grain detail. And we obviously have around the world a number of wetland directories, 120 sites, for instance, identified here in Australia as potential Ramsar sites, and these are data points that are accepted by the government and help us as we go forward in looking at sites of international importance and sites for particular focus when there are threats on their integrity or on their status. Concerns. Location of KBAs, yes. We're not quite sure about whether Ramsar areas will all go to IUCN categorization. This is an issue particularly with some countries in Latin America. There is not a global acceptance of IUCN categorization. And this is a reality that we need to face in looking at the KBAs to make sure that this does not overlap or cause difficulties for parties to accept the KBA system. And as Pierre says, it is very important to be sensitive to the way that countries have looked at the reasons why areas are considered necessary to protect or priorities to protect, and that is where we start and end in. What the parties say is what we need to listen to, and we need to understand that their due process, their governmental systems, are not to be overrun by a mere set of wonderful data that says that this is the best, or these are the best KBAs, when the reality politically may not go in the same direction. Another point that we think of in terms of systems, and this is something that we were discussing, Jane Madwick and I from Wetlands International yesterday, is that the scale is a problem for us when we really want to be working at basin scale, and the KBAs are not just sub-basins, but they may be in hectares, not in square kilometres, and we would prefer to be looking at Ramsar sites and sites of importance of a larger scale. And so another issue is about whether we are looking at ecosystems and whether we are looking at species on the KBAs, because of course this is critical in terms of determining representation, representativity, and for drawing the KBA boundaries, and the difficulties there of respecting both land, tenure, and customary rights. It's particularly clear here in Australia, but in many other parts of the world, it needs to be understood that we cannot override the boundaries that are set up by traditional or customary rights. In terms of future development, we would be obviously interested in terms of indicators for future Ramsar sites, and our relationship, our growing close relationship with World Heritage means that we wish to make sure that there is no gap between us, that we can work seamlessly together, and that the data needs to be clearly, easily movable and labelled and categorised for all of the processes of data movement. And again, finally, the subdivision of KBAs. Okay, so that's briefly and quickly, and I hope that helps in processing our data set.